16, 17 months, I guess we'll be number one. The max 16, 17 months in the world. I don't think उससे ज़्यादा time लगना चाहिए. अगर बीच में कुछ गलत हो गया तो पता नहीं.
Rod, what's the strategy to get to number one?
By the number one strategy to become number one is saying no. Say no to almost everything in life. And here's what I mean by that. If you look at our content, India mein top 5 things. You understand? Everybody understand Hindi? Yeah, perfect. Anyone who doesn't understand Hindi? Oh, so, okay. I'm going to take care of it. Sorry. So, I'll try to keep it in English, but because English is not my first language, I tend to switch it in Hindi. So, in India, if you look at my content, right, our podcast, our content, everything that works, which gets the maximum views, we don't do that. The top 5 categories in our country, which will get you the maximum views, you'll open any platform, you talk to any platform, CEO, chief, you look at the rankings, apart from us, you won't find anyone who's in our field. The top 5 categories that work. Number 1, horror. It really works in the podcast category. You will see in top 10, I think there are 6 or 7 podcasts which are horror. Number 2, religion. We don't do religion. Number 3, astrology. We don't do that as well. Number 2, sex and erotic conversations. We don't do that as well. Number 5, entertainment. All 5 categories we don't do. So there is no way that we would have won. So everything that works we don't do. And I think that's the only formula that will actually help you become number one. So if you're very clear about what you're not going to do, that will set you apart. So we say no to everything that works because we are very clear what to do. Number 2 is we are very clear about any podcast that doesn't help you think better. We discard it. People don't know that we put about 150 episodes a year, but we record about 220, 230 episodes a year. And the rest of them, they never make it. We reject them after recording them because we are like, oh, maybe this guest was great, but they were not able to give insights which can be, which people can take. Or maybe I was not good enough. I was not able to articulate better, or I was not able to ask good questions. But in the end, if it's not helping you think better, we discard it. So I think the strategy is keep saying no, 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 until you reach a point where you're going to, accumulate a lot of people who also say a lot of no's in your life.
I think this speaks to the theme of the panel, which is values over views, which is one of your guiding philosophies. I've heard you speak about how you literally turned down guests if you didn't feel like it was values aligned. Can you speak to a specific example of where you've drawn the line for figuring out?
It'll be very unfair if I take name of somebody, but I'll tell you. So in our office, there's a big sign which says values over views, sense over sensationalism, teachings over trends. And we live by that. Any podcast which lies on the other spectrum, we don't actually upload that. There are guests who must be, they've offered us insane money to feature them, but we have said no because they don't align with the philosophy of actually teaching something. They just want to promote themselves. Now, I'll give you a more juicier example. There was a politician, okay? And this politician, we did a podcast, very celebrated and decorated, probably, at least used to be. He's been on multiple podcasts after ours because we didn't upload his. So we recorded one podcast. I went there. He started bashing left, right, center to, like a lot of people. He started bashing a lot of people. He started giving me content which was it was so sensational. If I would have put it, I knew that it's minimum 15 million views. I knew it to the point that it's absolutely there. He would tell me about affairs of politicians. He started speaking about what goes on inside when they actually choose. He told me about people who have bought tickets and now they are becoming holier than I was like, the fuck is going on, right? So there was really controversial, great episode. But the entire podcast just had this. Anything which I asked him about teaching, learning, some insight, zero. He would just give me gossip. So we didn't upload that podcast. Today, I think probably he hates us, and he text, like his team texted my team, tried to threaten it as well, do bunch of things, but we didn't upload it because it didn't align with our values. So there are enough times where we have said no just because of this. There was another time where there was this one rock star in the country, a very big, some superstar. We recorded, great episode, great guy. We loved it. And then, because of some reason, his podcast got delayed by 1 month. So his team member started talking shit and started insulting and abusing one of my team members. And we said, no, we're never putting it out. We're sorry. Bye. Thank you. So stuff like that. So if it doesn't align with our values, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, how big you've become. We just say no. So values overview. That's the specific example.
It's clear that you're very rigorous in your approach to values over views, but there are times that audiences have criticized you. And I want to speak about your episode with Vijay Mallya last year. 4-hour podcast, 20 million views in 4 days. It was his first time speaking in 9 years, but you were subject to a lot of criticism. What do you say to the people that question your values over views ethos in that instance? And how do you generally deal with public pressure, having such a public platform?
I genuinely don't think that I did anything wrong. I stand by it. On the podcast, if you look at, right, there are podcasts which teaches you what to do. There has to be podcasts which teaches you what not to do. Now it's up to you. How do you see that episode? Do you want to choose it as an inspiration to do something or not to do? It's up to you. I didn't do anything wrong. I along with my team, we tried to gather every information, every research which was possible. We looked at one type of political parties, their reviews. We looked at another type of political parties, their reviews. We consulted so many lawyers, so many people all around the world. And then we prepared a questionnaire and then we asked them. And Vijay Mallya had no idea about the questions we were going to ask him. He was open. We didn't cut or edit anything that he asked us to because he didn't ask us to do anything. It was on so editorial content wasn't me. There was an episode that I wanted to make because I was genuinely curious to understand what went wrong with him, because in India, there's a perception that if you're really rich, really powerful, really famous, you can get away with anything. And that's the larger sentiment. I also thought that was true. But in his case, it was not true. What went wrong? I was genuinely curious. And he was not on my dream list to actually do. I happened to be in London. I bumped into him. I thought, golden opportunity. I tried to convince him. It took us 6 months to convince him. He got convinced, we did it. So I don't think I've done anything wrong. How many of you have watched that episode? How many of you liked that episode just for the podcasting? How many of you, maybe you don't like Vijay Mallya, but you liked that entire thing, you felt like you've not wasted your 4 hours? See, I think majority.
This is a representative sample, clearly. How do you deal with the public pressure, though, when you face that type of criticism?
I don't look at that. I don't know what people are talking about me, honestly. Really? I don't have time. I have no clue if they're abusing me. I don't get high by compliments, and I don't let all the negative things affect me.
Tunnel vision on number
yes, one. I have no interest in what the world is saying. I have one moral compass. If tomorrow my mom and dad ask me, was this something that you're proud of? If I have the answer to that is yes, I'm doing it. I don't care if the whole world is against me.
You said something interesting just now about the perception of India in the world. And what I love about your podcast is you always open by saying that you're trying to bring India's voice to the global stage. India has more than arrived in business and media and culture. But I'm curious, there's still things that we're getting wrong. What do you think the diaspora gets wrong about India today?
One thing they get wrong is they still believe their parents' stories, which is about India, which was like 20 years ago, right? Not the India of today. India of today has changed. I think so many people I meet, they are like, oh, but there's still this problem and that problem and this problem. I'm like, yeah, these problems are every fucking where in the world. Like, India is really changing, and you can't actually experience that change until unless you're building in India from India. There's no way on earth you can understand that. Right? So no matter what I tell you, if you're not doing business in India or job in India, you won't understand what I'm talking about. So that's one thing which diaspora gets wrong. Another thing which they get wrong is a lot of people still believe that if you're gonna be in India or build in India, you'll still be limited. I think that's wrong. India is the most difficult market in the world. So if you crack that, the rest of the world becomes really easy for you. So I think there's merit in actually going out and exploring that. Imagine the first few years, no matter where you are, it's going to be the hardest for you. If you crack that in India, you will actually crack how to deal with so many different people, so many different languages, so many different beliefs, so many different income status, so many different levels of whether they're going to hurt or not going to get hurt, right? There are so many things which only India has to offer. There's no other part in the world which is this diverse. If they're diverse, they don't have the money, which India is changing now, has the largest middle class in the world, which I think about to become the largest middle class in the world. Then in India, you'll find the richest of the richest, poorest of the poor. So there's so many things in India which offers you insane amount of leverage in the world. So if you understand that market, it's going to be great. Second thing, scale. No one actually understands scale until unless they have built something in India or China. Rest of the world, they don't understand scale because the kind of scale which like these two countries have, it's insane. I'm not talking about companies which have been there for 10, 20 years and like I'm talking about today. The startups and the companies which have been there forever, they have actually all gone around the world, so they understand scale. But people who are building today, if you're building out of any part of the world and not India, or maybe if you're building out of any part of the world and India is not part of your strategy, you're getting it wrong. So that's the second thing which they get wrong. The thing which diaspora gets right is you have actually navigated how to win in the world and set an example for a lot of us to go out in the world and go actually follow the template that you have built. So let's think about, like, you were the advanced brains. We are now the army which is going to come and show the world that what India is. That's what I believe is being right.